Welcome to episode 2 of Mariners Minis. We're going to talk about, you can see by the title of this episode, it is going to be the flop in Florida. Did not play well in the last 6 games in the trip to Florida, dropping 2 of 3 to both the Rays and the Marlins. You can see Jacob in San Francisco. Not really in San Francisco. Just adding some
I'm
flair
up in the
here.
hills. Yeah.
It was a tough week, really. I mean, they just couldn't really catch a break. They got game 1 in Tampa Bay, started off feeling really good, and then that Marco getting taken out after just recording 1 out of that freak incident. The Bats never woke back up, only scoring 3 more total runs in games 2 and 3 against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got some great pitching, so I don't think it was too much of a surprise to see low scoring totals. I did expect just a little bit more. They had a lot of opportunities, but the strikeouts are what concern me. They struck out a lot in those second and third games against the Rays.
Yeah, when you're stringing together 5 hits in an entire game, you're just not going to see the offense that you need to take on a team like that.
And the bullpen did pretty well, especially in that game where Marco did have to leave. They came in, only allowed 2 more runs because Marco did allow that 1 run that did go on him. But after that, I mean, it would have been 7 2/3. Only allowing 2 more runs is a very, very good thing. This bullpen continues to just look absolutely dominant. They're going to give you a chance to win any game as long as it's close when they take over. They're not going to let it get out of hand by any means. The Bats, though, did wake up in game 3 against the Marlins. They didn't do too bad in game 1, just Matt Brash struggling with the walks. He's got to cut down on the walks. He has just filthy stuff. Find the zone, use your fastball to control the zone, get ahead of batters because he's falling behind to everyone trying to go with the off-speed stuff, the start counts. Stick with the fastball, get ahead, and then work off of that, I think, is what he needs to really go back to.
Yeah, no, totally agree. You're not going to get batters to chase as much on your filthy stuff if you're always behind in counts and they can just sit there and watch balls go by and they get first base for free. So he cuts down on that. He just becomes a much more effective pitcher. And he's young. He's going to figure that out. And I don't take last game as something to worry about. He definitely does need to work on those walks there.
And that wasn't even the worst thing to happen in game 1 against Miami. Of course, Mitch Haniger finally comes back. His first at bat, he gets a base hit, but hurts that ankle, a high ankle sprain, back on the IL. He just can't catch a break. It feels like it's been like this pretty much his entire career in Seattle, other than last year where he stayed pretty healthy. But man, he just hits so well. We need him in this lineup to be kind of the centerpiece, especially with other guys scuffling. Jesse Winker looks like he might be waking up after recording 3 hits in the finale against the Marlins. Mitch Haniger, you got to get him back in the lineup as soon as possible.
Definitely. Yeah. We have the depth to be able to swallow that a little easier than we could in past years. But I mean, there's just no arguing with his productivity, his power, being able to get on base, everything. He is just so helpful when we can get him up to the plate. And so really hoping that he comes back sooner rather than later, especially with some of our other prospective outfield pieces still needing a little bit more time cooking.
And good news when it comes to that outfield depth. News just broke today, or was announced today, that Kyle Lewis going on a rehab assignment. They're hoping he will join the Rainiers this week. So Kyle Lewis could be returning here very, very shortly. That'd be a very good thing. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that outfield, especially when Haniger does come back. I have liked what I've seen from Jared Kelenic with that arm in the outfield. He has showed that off. It's looked very good. It was nice to see Julio get that first home run, kind of get that swagger. He's starting to get on base a lot, leading the league in stolen bases. Still hasn't been caught. It's been absolutely electric to watch him as soon as he gets on base. So the young guys are starting to work their way into it, starting to get a little bit comfortable. And I think once you add Kyle Lewis and Mitch Haniger back, where Kelenic and Rodriguez aren't having to go out there and play every single day, I think that is going to be very good for them. They'll be able to sit back, kind of relax, take in the atmosphere, not put too much pressure on themselves, and really capitalize on their limited at-bats. Whereas right now, they're just going out there every day because they have to.
Right. And just having that many young guys in a row, it's hard to string those hits together when it's always in those high impact situations where the veterans are going to keep their cool a little bit more and come in clutch more often than those young guys. So I'm hoping to see, rookie of the year coming back, Mitch Haniger coming back, and getting those hits when we need them more with guys on base, with multiple putting pressure on pitchers in the same inning rather than just one or two at a time.
And also, we got to talk about Logan Gilbert, just named AL Pitcher of the Month. He has been downright filthy. In his 5 starts this season, he has allowed a total of 3 runs, only 2 of them earned. Just dominant. This is the Logan Gilbert we heard so much about coming up in the minors. Kind of got in his head a little bit, but I think hanging out with Jacob deGrom at Stetson University, where they both went to school, has been just so good for him. He seems to have that confidence. He trusts his stuff, and it has transitioned out there onto the field because he has just been downright disgusting.
Yeah, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Can't say enough good things about that. As soon as he was coming up from the minors, we were told this was the possibility. And he's been towards the end of the year last year when he first came up, you got to take time to adjust. And I think that right now we are seeing what can be long term. And so I love seeing it. I'm hoping that we might even be able to duplicate it with a couple other of these young guys, Brash, Kirby. But I will take it with Logan Gilbert. That is a phenomenal young guy coming up in the organization.
Yeah, you got to like that. You saw how he struggled early in his call up, like you mentioned, compared to where he's gone to now. Hopefully Brash does the exact same, like you said. And then, yeah, like you said, Kirby as well as Emerson Hancock also going to be making their way up here before too long.
And even last year when he was struggling, it wasn't ability. It wasn't his pitches, his stuff not being there. It was walks and it was long balls. And that's what killed him the most. And so being able to fight that and figure out those little pieces, but still stay true to the mechanics that he has groomed for the last 5 years coming up, it's been fantastic to see.
And next up for the Mariners, they'll start a 3-game set here tonight with the Houston Astros. Hopefully be able to duplicate that success. The Astros, they're getting healthy once again. Jose Altuve, it sounds like, will be back for this series. For the Mariners, roster moves did happen. They had to trim that roster down a little bit. Justice Sheffield and Donovan Walton sent down as they have to adjust, get under those numbers after they expanded the rosters for the shortened spring. Pitching matchups for this series, a rematch. Marco Gonzalez, good news. He's not going to miss a start. He'll be back against Jake Odorizzi here in game 1. Jake Odorizzi got lit up by the Mariners the first time they played in the M's home opener. So hopefully that also happens once again. Then game 2, Chris Flexen and Christian Javier. He is just filthy. He's going to be a tough outing. And then that finale, Matt Brash against that bad man, Justin Verlander, who just dominated the Mariners the first time around. Hopefully they'll be able to try and even things up. He's been just the Justin Verlander of old, but some tough pitching matchups here in this series against Houston.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that we can repeat the success of our last stint with them. Other than, teams not named the Blue Jays, the Astros are looking pretty hot. So I'm hoping that we can cool them down a little bit, throw some of our pitching elites at them and see if we can't take them down a notch and get those standings back to where we like to see them.
All right, now Mariners second place behind the Angels, who have just been red hot right now. So interesting division to watch. Again, that series starts tonight. We'll probably have another episode out for Mariners Minis after this series and to preview the beginning of the homestand. That'll be coming up later this week here on the Kingsman.